Welcome back. I feel like right now we are in an X-Men hype train. The X-Men are always gonna be popular nowadays, and every superhero and comic book nerd has a soft spot for them. But with the Doomsday trailer and Gambit, Rogue, Emma Frost, Deadpool, and possibly more joining Marvel rivals, I just feel like it's a mutant-loving time right now. So I was looking for a show to watch while I walk on the treadmill, and then I thought, why don't I rewatch X-Men 97? But wait. Why would I do that when I can just watch the show that it's directly inspired by? The 1992 X-Men animated series. So that's what we did, folks. But what if I told you that this show is really what made X-Men cool again? The X-Men weren't always Marvel's favorite team, folks.
Let's talk a little bit more about this.
First off, who is the X-Men? You know, some of you may not even really know who the X-Men is, and that's fine. The X-Men are
Mutants.
Humans born with the X gene that typically give them superhuman abilities. The X-Men fight for equal rights between humans and mutants, and they vow to protect a world that fears them. They typically see their powers more as a curse than a gift because of the backlash that they always face from regular humans. Seems like a cool enough story, so why didn't it do well? The comics were kind of all over the place. They had a big boom, and then they kind of fell off. With such a large cast of characters and darker, more political storylines, not a lot of people wanted to write about them. A lot of the big studios were kind of scared to talk about these deeper topics. Many comics and other media failed, like Pride of the X-Men. So what did Marvel do to fix this? With all this negative talk about the X-Men, it was time for a rebrand. First off, Jim Lee and Chris Claremont revitalized the books. X-Men issue number 1 became the best-selling comic of all time due to better marketing and Jim Lee being a very well-known artist at the time. One of the marketing stunts that they did was make 5 cover releases for an issue to combine into one big piece so collectors and super fans would try to be the first to get them. After Spider-Man blew up, people were really trying to get on board of the next big thing before anybody else. Also, more merchandise came out. I'm talking lunchboxes, plushies, everything. Also, a more serious animated series was to release instead of a kid's cartoon. This show would have more emotion and really hone in on the politics of equality. They wanted to push X-Men into more audiences than comic book fans. This idea came from Margaret Loesch.
This is Margaret Lash.
Head of Marvel Productions at Fox Kids, along with Eric Lewald and Julia Lewald, the head writers of the show, and was heavily inspired by Claremont's runs. Jim Lee also was a direct influence with the style. The main idea for the show is that they didn't want to dumb down the X-Men, and because of this, the show did really well because it was faithful to the source material. The X-Men were finally able to show their colors and be who they always were supposed to be. Also in the show was ongoing story arcs instead of the one-and-done villains of the week. The show contained mature themes like racism, fear, and more topics that a lot of cartoons at the time didn't want to touch on. More reasons why this show was successful is the awesome theme song that played before every episode and incredible voice acting. The X-Men were meant to feel important. It didn't just revive the X-Men, but it really slapped them on the map and redefined who they were always meant to be. So what am I expecting out of this show? Things that I want to see is I want to hear about more characters that I possibly might not know about, and I want to learn more about characters that I already do know about. You know, like Colossus. I don't really know much about Colossus. I know he's a big, solid steel dude, but I don't know much of his backstory. Nightcrawler, the only thing I really know about Nightcrawler is that the information that I got from the movies. So I'd like to know more about him. And I just like a good Saturday morning cartoon feel. As far as things I don't really want to see, obviously I don't want it to be boring. That would suck. And I don't know, I'm just excited to see what the hype is about. Especially, you know, during the first season, I'm not expecting a crazy start, but I'm excited to see what they have. We start out getting to know Jubilee. As you guys know, Jubilee, big fan favorite, but Jubilee's parents turned her into the mutant registration. Sentinels try to the gang's at the mall, Jubilee's at the mall, and we're kind of just seeing them hang out. Some of the best things that they do in X-Men media is just, I like seeing the X-Men hang out. You know, they're just a group of cool people and it's sick.
You must like to play cards.
I like solitaire, okay? Unless I got someone to play with.
Anywho, Sentinels come and they try to eliminate her, per usual, as Sentinels do, until the X-Men save her. Jubilee is then brought back to a facility and she learns more about the X-Men. After she is fully recovered thanks to Beast and the team, she decides that she wants to try to go back home, but she is captured again. Can't catch a break. The X-Men later find out that the people that run the mutant registry is the same people that want all mutants dead. So they are very corrupt and that is no good. So their plan is to pull up, erase all the data, and save Jubilee again. And that's pretty much the first episode. All of these episodes, they are very short. I mean, 20 minutes, including credits and the intro and the recap. So really, it's like 15 minutes an episode, which, you know, is perfect for daytime television. Just turn it on. You got a little story. It's nothing you like crazy have to follow along. It's not like it's an anime or anything, but it still has like great storytelling pieces that make it a good show. So you can't hate on it, you know? 15-minute episodes. Come on. This is also just a simple, great intro. You got the humor, you got a fun story. It's just fun to watch. It's a good time. It also doesn't tell us who everyone is directly, like, oh, this is Wolverine. He's a smelly little shithead. I don't know. Because one, it tells us in the credits, and two, it just doesn't need to. We don't need to spend a whole episode on introducing everybody from the team. You watch, you'll follow along. It's not that complicated. If you don't know somebody, you just watch the show, see how they act around the other gang, and you kind of understand who the character is. It's kind of like whenever you watch Avatar, you know, they don't have to tell you that Sokka is the kind of annoying brother that is goofy. You just watch the show and you know that. It also feels like that shows in this era use that 15 minutes they get to their advantage. They don't really waste time. This is what happened last episode. This is the intro. This is what's going on this episode. Now watch. It's awesome, man. I love shows like that. The dialogue also is actually funny at times. I'll admit it. I caught myself chuckling.
You look nervous as a long-tailed cat in a room full of rocking chairs.
The fuck you say to me, you little...
The Saturday morning cartoon vibes are on 10,000. First episode thoughts, it's simple, it's fun, it's good. It's a good time. I'm excited to keep on watching more. Episode 2, Night of the Sentinels Part 2. The mission continues. The gang destroy the files easy as can be until they get ambushed by multiple Sentinels.
Let's all go for a little moonlight swim. Don't get a moonburn.
Unfortunately, Morph gets shot by a Sentinel trying to save Wolverine from the blast.
Wolverine, pull back!
Morph, I don't sense anything.
Even though he has regenerative powers, I don't really get why he would have to jump in front of the bullet if Wolverine can regenerate. I don't know. But Morph dies. Rest in peace, Morph. Beast also is struck by one of the Sentinels, but he ultimately survives. Cyclops quickly extracts the team, leaving them behind because he thinks they are already perished. And Wolverine is wholeheartedly pissed off by Cyclops' decision. The president has issued that Trask and Gyrick shut down their mutant registry since the mutants were willing to die for those files to be destroyed. These mutants are somewhat human, and clearly, such a weird thing to say. They're kind of human, I don't know. Clearly these files mean a lot to them. So the president just thinks that they're mutants. They're not like they're animals or anything crazy. They're just humans with superpowers for the most part. So yeah, mutant registry is no more. Jubilee, of course, is saved once again and decides to join the gang in the X Mansion. And I don't blame her. The mansion is badass and all these people are pretty cool, so. And once again, another great episode. I don't know how Morph will come back. It seems kind of weird that they just killed him off in the second episode. I don't know. And maybe he is dead. I also think that Jubilee's foster parents originally were trying to help her instead of just turn her in. I don't think they completely knew that the mutant registry was trying to literally kill these mutants. Originally, whenever I wrote this, I was like, oh man, these guys, but I don't even think that they knew about that. Beast, however, is still currently caught up in the registry and he's being held, but Jean knows that he's alive. Also, Rogue is badass and has got to be the second most powerful X-Men right behind Jean. I mean, she's gotta be. And I don't know, I like seeing Rogue. She's swaggy. Every time she talks, she's usually saying something slick and it's just, they're just cool, you know? I also love how they really highlight that each of the X-Men is a family. You know, they all love each other, even though Cyclops and Wolverine kind of have beef. You know, they don't really like each other that much. Same with Gambit, but you know, Wolverine's just kind of a hothead in general. But I kind of like that they will sometimes have beef in these episodes, you know? It really just shows that the dynamic can be rough, but we're still all in this together. It's just cool. Also, Storm kicks ass. At this point in time, I'm really hoping to see Kitty. I really hope Kitty Pryde comes in here. I don't think she will, but I really hope she does. Also, I forgot to mention, but Trask does know about the X-Men and he views them as just the most powerful mutants and he wants to put an end to what they got going on. Episode 3, Enter Magneto. Let's cook. We get introduced in this episode to Magneto. Easily the biggest X-Men villain. one of the biggest villains in Marvel, one of the biggest villains ever, probably. He's got to be on like top 50, right? He's got to be like top 50. Beast is held up in the Mutant Control Agency prison and is getting haggled until all of a sudden Wolverine comes in to break him out. Beast chuckles and he says,
Wolverine. So impulsive.
until suddenly the wall breaks and enters Magneto. Magneto attempts to break Beast out, but he would rather stand trial to show that he's not a threat to humans. And this is just the coolest thing about the mutants. The X-Men, they always are trying to actively be like, hey, we're not hurting no one. You know, Beast is, instead of breaking out when he easily could, and they know he easily can, he's like, I'm just gonna stay here. I'm gonna kick it.
We are not a threat to mankind, but are a part of it.
Even though the guards are still picking on him and being dickheads. Magneto disagrees with Charles's path, trying to befriend the human race, and takes it upon himself to take out the guards. He kind of just looks at Beast and he's like, bro, I'm literally breaking you out and you have the audacity to sit here and be a pet to these humans. Xavier knows about Magneto being in Radius, and he tells the other kids who Magnus is. He was a co-worker and a friend who also helped people recover after the war with their secret abilities. But when the Raiders came to capture the victims again, Charles and Magnus had two different ideas on what they should do. Xavier, after quickly saving the victims again, stood down while Magnus was filled with rage since they killed his family. Charles said that he's never seen a change so fast in a man, and I just think that that is such a cool line, even though they show you and stuff. Whenever he puts that in perspective, imagine seeing somebody, you know, they're your friend and you guys are saving people together. You know, these people, they've been hurt with the war just like we have, and we're helping save them, not with medical stuff, but with our mutant abilities. Like, that's badass. You guys are partners, and then you see these people come back and they break in, and then you see your friend, he just, boom, he just snaps and he turns into a whole nother person that you'd even think was in there. Like, it's such a cool thing to hear from him, and it kind of puts you in his shoes because you understand, like, man, that person that I know is still them. Like, they're there, but it's just they're just filled with all this rage. And so you kind of can, even with that just little dialogue piece right there, you can kind of understand why Professor X isn't like, let's kill Magneto because he's a danger. It's like, he's not a danger. He deep down, he just wants to help people too, but he doesn't like being stepped on all the time. It's so cool because obviously we know about Magneto. We know he was in the war, or like, you know, he was young during that and his family was killed and he was imprisoned and yeah, all kinds of stuff like that. It's just such a cool backstory. Such a cool backstory. But today is the day that Beast finally stands trial. At the trial, he is denied bail and Sabretooth attempts to save Beast, and he is going to hurt any humans who get in his way until eventually Cyclops steps up because he understands that, oh, they're gonna kill Sabretooth, and he takes him back to the mansion, something that Wolverine does not take kindly to.
Come on, they're gonna kill him.
Good.
What?
He would rather see Sabretooth dead. We don't know why, but he does. He hates Sabretooth's guts. Wolverine tries to warn everyone that Sabretooth is not the guy that they think he is, and he's a menace. Spider-Man, all right. He doesn't have an inch of kindness in his heart, and he has this rage that he will kill anybody that gets in his way, and he's a demon. But Professor says to him, he's like, oh, well, that's what everyone thought of you before, you know, you were here, and now you're a part of the team. So obviously, a mutant comes in here, we're gonna try to help him. He's still pissed off about that. But we get word that Magneto is attacking a missile facility. So Professor says either you go help the rest of the gang attack Magneto before he does something fucked up, or you cannot even bother coming back. He kind of lays the law on Wolverine, which obviously Wolverine tucks his tail and he goes to the fight.
How come we're supposed to trash your old enemy, but we gotta go easy on mine?
Like, that's kind of fair, but I kind of see both sides telling Professor X, like, there's no helping this guy. But I get Professor, you know, he wants to try to help every mutant, which is a good thing and a bad thing. But anyways, we keep pushing. At the missile facility, Magneto releases these bombs that are very dangerous, but Storm goes and she deactivates them with her lightning. Magneto tried to persuade the X-Men to try to join him in getting this revolution together to become gods compared to humans, to which obviously the X-Men are like, bro, we're just trying to be equal. We all can just live in peace. Of course, Magneto runs away and he says, you fools. Shit like that. And he's sickened with the idea that Xavier sees good in humans. In his eyes, Xavier is keeping mutants contained and making them pets for the humans. He thinks humans as rodents and mutants are gods among them. Of course, this is the best episode so far. Magneto is so sick. I love the dynamic between them all. It's just so cool. There was also a moment where Wolverine was scared because he thought Storm was dead and tells Cyclops that they succeeded and she's just exhausted. And while doing this, he calls him buddy. I thought it was cute. Sue me.
She's asleep. Mission accomplished, buddy.
Okay, let's go home.
And yeah, Magneto is just gangster as I mean, come on.
I suppose that a civil war is your answer.
Better that we die on our feet than live on our knees.
I mean, this dialogue is always cooking, man. And it's like, I get why he hates humans. Shit, I probably would too. But I also see where the X-Men just want to fit in as much as possible. They want to help people. They want to be heroes, use these gifts that they have for good. As far as a basic introduction to Magneto, because we have to remember, this is the 90s. And while people do know the X-Men, of course, they were still kind of in a bad spot. So this was kind of a reminder of who Magneto is to the people who possibly could have forgot. And then it was also an introduction for all the new gens and people just now learning about X-Men. So for a lot of people, this was likely the first time they ever heard of Magneto. And I think it does a great job at that. It leaves enough of his past a mystery, but it shows him his clear intentions and his powers. I mean, it's cool. I also love that this episode showed us a little bit more of Wolverine's soft side. Sure, he's a badass lone wolf that hates everything, but realistically, he loves his home and his friends and would do anything to make sure that they are safe. Even that Boy Scout Cyclops. Goated.
You and your mutants protect the humans who seek to destroy us. Why? Why have you turned against your own kind?
Episode 4, Deadly Reunions. Sabretooth is full of rage like Wolverine. We know this. Wolverine hates him because he killed his friends for no reason. We don't really know what friends, but all we know is that Sabretooth and Wolverine used to be buds, they used to work with each other, and then he killed his friends. Probably not the best thing to do if you want to keep a relationship with your friend, but shit happens, I guess. Magneto attacks a chemical plant and tells Charles that he will not stand around and do nothing while humans wage wars against mutant kind. His people have tried talking while others prepare for war before, and that ended up with them dead. He's not gonna let that happen again. Once again, badass motive, to be honest. I mean, I feel it. Magneto wants the X-Men on his side, but they refuse to go about it in that way, so in his eyes, they are enemies. Charles forces Magneto to see visions from his past, and he runs away in fear after facing that again. After that, the team flees the plant after saving the people working there, and it goes up in flames. Upon returning to the mansion, while Jubilee and a calm Sabretooth watch Senator Kelly talk about the president's discontinuation of the Mutant Registration Act, they hear him declare his run for presidency. If he wins, he plans to relocate all mutants into camps. Something I'm sure Magneto would love to hear. Sabretooth's wrists are f***ed up from the machine that he's in, and Jubilee gets up trying to help him with that, but he grabs her and threatens to kill her. Wolverine then hears this and he fights him. Once that's finally done, the professor and the gang come back and he apologizes to Wolverine because he didn't listen to him at the beginning. Wolverine from the fight is injured by Sabretooth, and that kind of left me a little bit confused. I guess he doesn't have healing factor, or maybe it's just like sped up or something, but at this point in time, we have not seen anything of Wolverine having a healing factor. I mean, that kind of explains why Morph tried to save him. After that, we see Magneto is planning another attack, and then the episode ends. We're kind of at a great spot in the season, to be honest. Magneto looking to rule the humans for what they want to do to mutants / did to him and his family in the war. Professor is blinded by the want to help and make peace, struggling with the feeling of trying to save every mutant and humans. Feels like we're down on our luck with Beast getting locked up, Magneto being super powerful, Morph dying, Logan injured, and both Cyclops and Storm got dicked on in their recent fights. We need change. We need to prove to the people that we are trying to help, even with Magneto actively doing the opposite. A fantastic story so far. For a story that's reintroducing the X-Men to the large public, I think that this is such a good way to do it, and they're like pinpointing all the best things about X-Men in this show. It's awesome. Magneto, of course, is still badass. I'm sure he's gonna be forming a brotherhood soon. Mystique, Toad, who knows? I do hope we get Iceman though. I'm kind of wanting to see Iceman now. And Colossus. I want to see Colossus. But why does Wolverine not have a healing factor? Episode 5, Captive Hearts. This episode starts out with some inspirational words.
That sucker's thick!
We start out in the Danger Room, a classic with X-Men. We are introduced to the idea that Storm is claustrophobic, something we revisit in the next couple of episodes, which I think they said in X-Men 97 or maybe something in Marvel Rivals. It was like, you know, she hates tight spaces, but now she owns the sky. Such a bar. Jean goes to help Wolverine as he's not resting when he should be, but eventually Jean decides to go back to Cyclops because he's waiting on her. But Wolverine says, I am too. Laying down that Wolverine riz. Scott and Jean go on a date, but Cyclops is too focused on making the professor proud that he barely is paying any attention to Jean. What does Cyclops got to think about at this very moment? I get it, he's stressed, but you're on a date. How is he gonna make the professor happy in this moment? Relax, gang. It's kind of fruity too. Also, not gonna lie, this is kind of why I like Wolverine and Jean together a tad bit more. I like Scott and Jean on paper, but I also think Cyclops is at his best when he's so insanely focused on making the team thrive to the point where he can't even think about anything else. I just feel like Jean is a little bit too complicated for him. I'm team Wolverine. Scott and Jean see a mutant getting picked on and they go to help him, but then they find more mutants picking on humans. They shortly after get put into a trance and are taken elsewhere. We then cut to the classic Wolverine meme. After this, the X-Men go to save Jean and Cyclops, and Storm tries to overcome her fear of claustrophobia. She goes down into this subway layer and yeah, she typically doesn't like being anywhere that's not the sky. Eventually she duels for the leadership of the Morlocks and wins, but she grants the leadership back to Callisto until the mutants can roam freely without feeling unsafe above ground. Badass. I think I say that in almost every episode, but dude, it's true. Come on now. After this is all said and done, Wolverine has turned up missing from the X-Mansion. I feel like the main idea for this episode is, you know, it introduces us to more mutants living underground, and they feel like they can't even show their face. They do say that at one point. They say that, you know, lucky for Scott, you know, you guys are saying all this stuff, but we can't even go outside. It's all cute and all to fight for mutants, but you guys look normal, at least. We look deformed. We can't even go outside without getting terrorized. So I think the idea was to introduce us to that side of things and to show us more of Storm being claustrophobic. And of course, talking more about Wolverine. Episode 6, Cold Vengeance. Wolverine escaped the mansion and went skiing. Even though he's trying to take a moment to think by himself, he is not alone. Sabretooth all along has been tracking him down. Get off my man dick. Why did I say that? Eventually, Sabretooth throws him off of a cliff into the Arctic ice and he floats away. At this point, they do mention his healing factor, but they say it's not strong enough to keep him alive in the such cold Arctic temperatures. So I don't even know anymore. I think they probably just nerfed Wolverine for the sake of the show, which, I mean, I'm cool with. Maybe. I don't know. I don't know. We then cut back to the mansion. Gambit says Genosians are inviting all mutants to live among them. Badass. A place where we can actually thrive and not be pestered all the time. And maybe we can use this place as a headquarters. I don't know. Professor likes this idea and he says it could lead an example for the United States. Cyclops agrees, of course, and assigns Storm, Gambit, and Jubilee to go to Genosha on a commercial flight to blend in with tourists. I don't really know why they decided to go on a commercial flight. I guess maybe not to, you know, where are they gonna land? They don't want to land in a place where they're gonna draw too much attention, so I guess they just wanted to blend in. I feel like they probably could have flown by themselves. I mean, surely there's somewhere they can land, but whatever. We'll ride a commercial. On the other side of the planet, Wolverine is saved by a tribe. However, Sabretooth also sees this. He also calls him a coward. It's kind of funny. He's like so far away and he sees him get saved by this tribe and he's like, always have the cowards out or something like that. I don't know. Logan is getting along with the tribe and even helps them catch a shit ton of fish. They are in awe with his abilities because they've never heard of mutants, which also, once again, another cool idea. It's cool to think that these people in, you know, faraway land, you know, they've never seen a mutant before, and I think that that's kind of cool. This kind of pisses off one of the members. They're like, all right, this guy's kind of stealing all my thunder. Sure, he's badass, but he smells weird and he's stealing my bitches. Fair. Sabretooth finds this guy that is disliking Wolverine and he tries to persuade him to help him find Logan, but that does not go as planned. The guy takes Wolverine and he says, let's go fishing, takes him out in the middle of the ocean while Sabretooth goes to the tribe and he burns it all down. He destroys it. The guy is in like, oh shit, that's not what was supposed to happen at all. So they go back, they get in a fight with Sabretooth and they go to save the people. Sabretooth falls off of a cliff. Poor Sabretooth. Not really though. He kidnapped a whole tribe and burnt down their village, so. The members say that Wolverine is a friend to them and he's welcome at any time. Will it pop up later on in the show? I don't know, but I kind of hope so. Which Logan says he wants to help rebuild their, their place, their village, their trap. But they tell him that they're thinking about moving on to the city anyways. So this is kind of they view this as an opportunity. So cool, I guess. The Genosha hotel that the gang is staying in found out that they were mutants and called someone saying, "I think you will like them." Very ominous, very weird. I don't know how they found out they were a mutant just by the eye, but they did. Later in the night, an army pulls up and a sentinel takes them. Unfortunately, it was a trap. Sorry, Gambit. You fell for a scam. Hey man, we all been there. I hate that it was a trap, of course, but I'm also kind of confused how this turns into the mutant paradise we thought it would be, because, I mean, I don't know. I know Genosha as a place where all the mutants go to live and all that. So I don't know how it's gonna turn into that. I know eventually it turns out to be a safe haven for them, but I just don't know how. I'm excited to see how that plays out. And also, let's not forget Beast is still in jail. During all of this, Beast is still locked up. We haven't really mentioned him other than like, what was it, the second episode? But yeah, my boy's still locked up. He's serving time. Anywho, episode 7, Slave Island. Gambit, Jubilee, and Storm, along with other mutants like Blob, Mystique, I said I want a Mystique, and Sunfire, are forced to build a dam to supply a Sentinel factory. They also have power nullification collars on, so if they try to escape, they will explode and they can't use their powers. Well, they can, but it's like they have like a iPad or something that turns it on and off. So they can use their powers to build the dam quicker, but as soon as they try to escape or, use it in any other way, they'll blow their head off. Gambit snitches on Jubilee's escape plan to get on the good side of the higher ups, but eventually also betrays them to ultimately save them all. However, Gambit wasn't alone. Along with him was Cable, a mysterious ex-mercenary guy who has badass lasers. As of now, that's all we know of him. This episode is kind of to me. It's a fun watch for sure, but just nothing insane, which isn't a problem. Not every episode needs to be crazy. Comparatively to the other episodes, it also doesn't really add that much other than Cable. It's mainly just hammering down that the mutant registration has moved here since being voted out of America, and they absolutely despise mutants. Maybe now that we eventually destroyed the dam, I don't even know if I mentioned that. Yeah, we destroyed the dam, and also Master Mold. I guess Master Mold was in there. I'm surprised I didn't even put that in to talk about, but yeah, Master Mold was in there. They were using the dam to supply Master Mold and build a crazy amount of Sentinels, but with Gambit's plan and the help of Cable, they destroyed the dam. But yeah, maybe since we destroyed the dam and taken out quite a bit of Sentinels, maybe they move here and they just set up defenses to try to have humans not be able to come here without a problem, I guess. We just put defenses up to make it harder for humans to come here, maybe? Also, at the end of the episode, we find out that the school has been demolished.
I'm getting a visual on the school.
It can't be.
Episode 8, The Unstoppable Juggernaut. The X Mansion has been destroyed. Professor X left a message saying he has something to do, but he can't say anymore. Right now, the X-Men just hope that he wasn't in there whenever the mansion got destroyed, and hopefully he went about on this mission. Wolverine smells a scent and he goes off on his own, and Cyclops hates that he does that. We're supposed to be working as a team, and here Wolverine is going on his own path. It's like, what the man. Storm, Rogue, and Jubilee take on the streets to find him because, let's be honest, he's probably gonna need their help. Jubilee says she hopes she's the first one to find him because as a team, Wolverine and her can take on anything. This is cute because obviously she says this because of their battle with Sabretooth. She hasn't seen much action, so she finds comfort in fighting people with Wolverine, and I think that's cool. I like that. Jubilee does find Wolverine, and to our surprise, we see a building being destroyed with construction workers pissed off. It was Colossus. Badass. The construction workers are pissed off and Colossus says, "Why are you guys attacking me? I'm only trying to help. You're trying to destroy the building. I'm gonna destroy it for you." Wolverine and Jubilee pounce on Colossus because they think that that's the guy that destroyed the mansion. But Wolverine then says, it's not Colossus. They don't have the same scent. Jubilee gets a call that there has been a bank robbery and it is also destroyed, to which she tells Wolverine and he is eager to go with Jubilee. He treats her like a sidekick and he's happy to go along with her. And I don't know. I like that they're like little friends. Usually Wolverine's pretty pissed off at everyone, so I like that he's nice to Jubilee. At the bank, Colossus gets falsely arrested again, to which Wolverine says he's always in the wrong place at the wrong time. Which is true, but I do feel bad for Colossus because he's actively saying he's only trying to help and he's not ever doing anything wrong. He even talked to the robber, but they do not listen to him because they are for sure that this is the guy. Storm and Rogue go to talk to, as Rogue says, the tall Russian hunk of a mutant, while Wolverine and Jubilee continue their search. They eventually break through and find Colossus talking to a friendly face who is also speaking Russian.
Beast! Eagerly awaiting my day in court. By the way, our oversized Slavic friend is named Colossus.
He's chilling, still eagerly waiting for his court date. Rogue off rip is such a fun and lovable character because everything she says is just so cool. You know, she has that southern twang to her. And I don't know, for like a main character, she's just so fun to watch. And it's awesome, which you can also say the same for all of the mutants, but Rogue definitely stands out. You can make a fair case with all the mutants and them having their own little quirks and personality traits. And that's just what makes them an awesome family looking for new members. And it's just a fun time watching all of them. It's a blast. We then cut to another bank getting robbed with Wolverine and Jubilee watching. Of course, this is the Juggernaut. He was looking for Xavier at the mansion, so he went to rob banks to get his attention, which obviously worked to an extent because now the X-Men are here. We all fight him as a team, but he is just too strong. We can't get into his mind, we can't physically hurt him, nothing. Cyclops thinks of a plan including everybody so we can take him down as a team. Jubilee goes first to distract him. Wolverine dives in, clawing at his helmet, eventually getting it loose. Rogue then swoops in, taking it off and absorb his powers, but then that makes her gain his memories. As some of you may know, Juggernaut's brother is Professor X. Juggernaut wants to kill all mutants because his brother is loved by, as he thinks, everyone, and he's so smart. He has everything going for him. While Juggernaut, on the other hand, is the brother that got his powers from magic and was not born with it, and that makes him feel like he has no belonging. He despises all mutants. Rogue flies up in a rage and lets it all out so she don't hurt anybody, and Storm helps her down when she is exhausted. Jean then has a helmet on, I would think to amplify her powers, and she enters Juggernaut's mind to wipe it for a while and make him forget what he was doing. We head back to the mansion to see it all being rebuilt along with Colossus. Wolverine offers Colossus to stay for a while, but he refuses because he needs to find his sister. Can't wait for that. And he simply just wants to see more of America. Wolverine then tells him that the door is always open. Also, Wolverine talks to Jubilee and he says he never realized how much he loves this place until it was gone. And Jubilee agrees, saying that it's the only place that she really felt like was home. I love this episode. The action wasn't really too much, but it had the team working all together again. And honestly, this was a Wolverine and Jubilee episode. They're just good friends that get along, and Wolverine is kind of a good guide for her. They relate a lot to each other, and they're both runaways in different ways. It's cute and it's fun. And that is where I'm going to stop for now. We're a little bit over the halfway point, and right now I'm loving this show. I'm loving this show. It's a perfect Saturday morning cartoon type vibe. There's a lot of things I'm leaving out, but I'm kind of just giving you guys the idea of each episode. It's just so fun. I'm so excited to see how the first season wraps up. Episode 9, The Cure. Back at Genosha, we learned that the collars that were used at the island was made by a guy in Scotland, which for some reason is the same place that the professor went to. Cable is now looking for that scientist named Adler who specializes in genetics.
Next time you take a shot at somebody, make sure you hit him. I'll remember that. You got a short memory.
This guy named Warren is the mutant Angel. Professor is looking to meet with Adler about his research on the mutant gene, but he is currently not wanting any visitors. So Xavier tries to enter his mind, but is blocked by visions of some random mutants and is kicked out. He now believes that Adler may be a mutant himself. Xavier calls the rest of the mutants, and whenever they learn about what's going on, the majority of the people are pissed, thinking that they are trying to weaken them, but Cyclops says that there are mutants out there who welcome that idea. Some mutants don't want to be a mutant anymore. It's just the way it is. Later on in the day, Jean says to Cyclops that she worries about Rogue. She senses that she is in a lot of pain. She feels lonely in the fact that she can't kiss or touch anyone. And then right after, we see Gambit smooth talking her, saying it might be worth it, suggesting that they give it a try before she hits the road. Where is Rogue going? To Scotland, of course. She plans on traveling to Muir Island seeking Adler. Two Scottish goon mutants, Avalanche and Pyro, are looking for Mystique on this island but find Rogue instead. During all this, Cable is also on the island searching for Adler, and eventually Rogue breaks into Adler's lab even though he still wants no visitors. When she reaches the lab, she tells Adler about all of her problems and that she no longer wants to be a mutant. She wants to be able to hold her boyfriend's hand and no longer kill anyone just from kissing them. He tells her to come back in an hour so he can prepare a cure, and he sends her on her way. Once the door is shut, we are revealed that this is actually Mystique and Apocalypse. Apocalypse is wanting to take in mutants and make them his slave. Cable eventually runs into Pyro and he interrogates him, asking where Adler is hiding. Since this is now Pyro's second time of hearing about this mysterious man Adler, he tells Avalanche that we are now going to just kidnap him since everyone wants to see him. And he says that Mystique doesn't have to know, so they're working under Mystique. However, Mystique is Adler right now. There is no Adler. That's just Mystique. So clearly they're going to kidnap Mystique. They break in and they destroy the machine, take Adler. And for some reason, I don't know why Mystique doesn't say anything while they're taking her. Like, hey, idiots, it's me. But who knows? Apocalypse pulls up and the X-Men eventually do too. And when the X-Men stop him, Rogue saves Jean from falling off of a cliff. Once she falls, Rogue asks if she's all right, and Jean says, I only got a couple bruises thanks to you. Cyclops thanks her and says you don't know how much this means to him, which is true for many reasons, but Rogue takes this like Jean said. If it wasn't for you, she would be dead now. Thanks to her powers. Rogue is Rogue because of her gift. So she eventually calls off the cell regeneration. Rogue runs into Angel while looking for Adler again, and Angel wants to be changed because of his deformation. Mystique tells Apocalypse about this mutant, and he wants him so that he can help destroy the world for Apocalypse as his slave. This episode is pretty much just a lot of lore. They're telling us about Apocalypse. He's taken in these mutants so he can turn them into his slaves to destroy the world. He says in an episode that he knows so much about Earth that people can't even imagine, and so he just wants to wipe out the Earth. He wants humans and mutants. He's just get rid of them all. He wants to rule and make this his place, I guess. And to do that, obviously, they're bringing in these mutants, and then once they put them in this cell regeneration machine, it actually just turns them into a slave. So yeah, kind of a shitty situation, but that's what's going on. Episode 10, Come the Apocalypse. Angel goes on with the surgery and he gets turned into Apocalypse slave. And instead of obviously regenerating his cells, he turns into Archangel. Meanwhile, all the X-Men are at this bar in town where all the mutants are just kind of waiting to hopefully be cured. Which is kind of funny because this is pretty much just like Turkey for mutants. Instead of getting veneers and hair transplants, they're all just sitting here waiting to get turned into a human again. So pretty much like Turkey. Angel barges in there all happy, saying that the procedure fully cured him and it worked and everyone should go get it. But which obviously this is Mystique and this is not Angel. But the X-Men don't know that. Cyclops gets up and he tells Angel that there are no cure because there's nothing wrong with him. To which Professor X, well, not stands up, but to which Professor X interjects the conversation and he says, if mutants want to be cured, let them be cured. We don't tell people what to do. Apocalypse attacks at the World Peace Conference, and Professor X knows that Angel is one of the horsemen of Apocalypse attacking. So Rogue goes looking for Adler, but she instead finds out that Mystique is Adler. They fight, and then the lab is destroyed. Horsemen later on pull up on the X-Men, and Rogue takes the dark energy out of Archangel that is currently corrupting him, but he's still left more mutated than ever. It's kind of a shitty situation for him. We later find Apocalypse and try to fight him. I'm sorry, Apocalypse escapes through this goofy-ass trapdoor conveniently placed here, and Archangel wishes Rogue best of luck because he knows that that dark power was too much for him to handle, so he hopes that she can do it. And then he flies away. Kind of a slow episode. It's mainly for, setting up stuff and giving us information, but it's kind of mid. But we do get Archangel, and that's pretty cool. I did not know that Archangel turns into Archangel because of Apocalypse. So, I learned something. And I don't know, I think Angel's kind of cool. I play him in Marvel Snap, so. I know Archangel the most from Lego Marvel Superheroes. So I knew there was something that happened to him, but I didn't know what. Episode 11, Days of Future Past Part 1. This is the best episode yet. I'm just gonna say that right now. This is when it starts cooking. We are set in New York City, 2055. The place is decrepit, destroyed, abandoned. All mutants are held up in camps, and if there's any runaways, then they're sent back, if not killed. Wolverine and two other mutants are found by a Sentinel and Bishop, a mutant working with them. After being defeated, the mutants are taken by Bishop and the Sentinels and are told, you might as well stop now. Fighting the Sentinels will only get you terminated. Wolverine claps back and he says that they want all mutants. They don't care if you're working for them right now. Eventually they'll turn on you too. After we arrive and Bishop shows the Sentinels his ID card, they blast it and take Bishop in as well, as he is no longer needed. Hey man, karma's a bitch, man. I guess Wolverine was right. While being escorted to wherever they're going, Wolverine sees the tombstones of his fellow X-Men and they all lash out on the Sentinels. After both of the Sentinels are destroyed, Nimrod shows up. An upgraded futuristic Sentinel more powerful than ever. Nimrod's a little bit goofy looking. He kind of just like floats. I don't know, he's kind of slow, kind of goofy, but yeah, that's Nimrod. While the mutants are fighting Nimrod, Wolverine and Bishop escape to a hidden location where Forge is bunkered up. Forge believes that if the assassination in the 90s never occurred, then none of this would have happened. Whatever that means. We don't know what assassination he's talking about, but yeah. Assassination of the 90s. Something bad happened. Wolverine straps up and he's ready to go back in time to kill this assassin, but is instead told that Bishop would be a better fit due to his youth. Kind of a big role for someone we just met, but we're putting all of our faith into this guy. Bishop is given a device that will keep him in his form when he arrives back in the 90s, but he won't remember much. When we arrive, Bishop, as told, is struggling to remember why he's even there. But after reading a newspaper with Charles Xavier on it, he figures maybe that's who we need to kill.
I'm here to find Xavier?
His device then starts showing pictures of the X-Mansion and the X-Men, so that's pretty much the best we got right now. So Bishop steals a bus and he starts heading towards the mansion. And whenever he gets there, he just starts causing chaos. Probably could have asked a couple of questions first, but you know. Shoot first, ask questions later. Bishop ambushed the X-Men, but remembers something when Wolverine says,
I'm gonna remember this, rookie. I'm gonna remember this, rookie.
He remembers this because before he time traveled, Wolverine said that exact same thing. So it was probably like a deja vu moment. Charles comes in and tells Wolverine to stop attacking and let's find out more information. They look at Bishop's tech and find it very powerful. Something not from this time. But they still don't believe that he's from the future. They think he's full of shit. Professor puts on Cerebro and sees images from their future. A world condemned to darkness and mutants enslaved. Nimrod then comes through the same teleporter that Bishop traveled through, and the X-Men have to fight him.
It's Nimrod!
And after they destroy him, they see the technology that's inside of that Sentinel, and they start believing Bishop. But the problem still lies. Who is Bishop here to kill? Gambit and Rogue come back after visiting Beast, to which Bishop jumps up and says Gambit is the one he's after, and he ups the strap. Super cool storyline. I'm very interested. I'm gonna go right into part 2 because, yeah, it's just cool. Episode 12, Days of Future Past, Part 2.
Don't you ever get tired of listening to yourself?
Not when I'm talking about you, Cher.
Ow!
Bishop says because of Gambit, everything will turn to ashes, destruction, and death. Because of him, not only do mutants get enslaved and die, but eventually the same people that run the Sentinels take over everything. They don't care about mutants anymore, they start to go for humans too. All because of one death that takes place in Washington, D.C. After learning this, everyone goes with Professor to Washington because Professor has a meeting with Senator Kelly. Everyone except for Bishop, Wolverine, and Gambit, which I don't really know why Bishop is staying back. I'm surprised he accepted to stay back, even though he's like 100% sure that Gambit's the guy. You would think he would want to be at the place where it's supposed to happen, but whatever. Obviously, they are all not getting along, and eventually Gambit makes a break for it and takes a jet straight to Washington. The gang of mutants from Scotland are here attacking the Senate, so he is escorted to a safe place, only to find out that Mystique was the one guiding him and after turns into Gambit. Once Gambit arrives, he finds the clone and prevents the assassination from happening. He is also accompanied with Bishop, and Rogue snaps Bishop's band, sending him back to time, but nothing has changed. Upon his re-arrival to the future, Forge tells him that something must have happened shortly after to cause nothing to change here. Back in the 90s, however, Rogue helps Mystique escape, say that 10 times fast, because of—
You're going to help me escape.
Now why would I do a crazy thing like that?
Because once I looked like this.
Mama.
Mystique is actually Rogue's mother. I had no idea about this, I'm not gonna lie. I knew she was Nightcrawler's mother, but I didn't know about Rogue. I mean, this is insane to me. I don't know that this is how I learn about this, but here we are. We then see the Senator has been taken and the entire area is now magnetized. I loved this two-parter. I just think the idea of the time travel is so cool, and they're trying to save the mutants from being enslaved. Again, per usual, but this time it's from the future. It's just so cool. I don't know why Rogue broke the band so fast though. I guess she also thought that everything was cool and that he's good to go back. And to be honest, Bishop probably would have just went back anyways. But also, I don't know if they even told her that if they break it, he just goes back to the future. But yeah, apparently she knew that. I am so stoked to see what happens next, and I might have to read the Days of Future Past comic if it's like this. All right, ladies and gentlemen, now on to the final episode. Episode 13, The Final Decision. Magneto, of course, was the one that took Senator Kelly, and he takes him to a ship. Magneto wants Senator Kelly dead, which I'm sure a lot of mutants probably do too, but yeah. Of course, Magneto is the guy to do it. Right before Magneto is able to kill Senator Kelly, the Sentinels actually take him. Magneto can't fight very much because the Sentinels are now made out of plastic, which is actually a pretty cool scene because he starts taking parts of the ship and throwing it at the Sentinels. He takes like the nails out of something in the ship and he throws all of them at someone. Magneto is just so sick. But Senator still escapes. Magneto is left crushed in the ship, but is eventually found by the X-Men with the help of Cerebro. We find out that Master Mold is making a plan to take world figures and put computers in their brains.
Return Senator Kelly to his campaign headquarters. No. What?
Of course, another villain just wants to take over the world. Yeah, that's kind of it. She's like, oh yeah, I'm gonna make you robot people. Which of course means that Master Mold wants to put a computer in Senator Kelly's head. The professor says we need to save Kelly because if not, then there will be a civil war. When we get there, of course, there's a ton of Sentinels because they said that they made thousands of them. So it's not gonna be an easy fight. But we might have some help from a fellow friend. Kind of, kind of friend.
Did you think I would let you die alone, Xavier?
Magneto joins us. Since we saved him, he's gonna help save us. Kinda cute. Thank you, Magneto. The professor flies a plane right into the Master Mold and ejects his seat. Don't worry, he has a parachute, because I thought the same thing at first. Since the jet was full of TNT and other explosives, the lab is destroyed. Senator Kelly is saved and is seen days later running for president still, and announces that mutants that use their powers for good must be protected, as they are human too. But mutants that abuse their powers need to be controlled. We then cut to Cyclops asking Jean to marry him. Aww. But they are being watched by Mr. Sinister.
Hope for the future. Sinister knows what your future holds.
And that's the season. Highlights. Rogue is definitely a highlight. Wolverine is definitely a highlight. I feel like those are the two like main characters. Rogue and Wolverine, I'd probably say. And there's some times where it hits the same beat a couple of times, like, oh, you know, mutants are hated on. We need to fix our PR. But that's fine. You know, that's kind of the mutants shindig anyways. Yeah, I don't know. I feel like with the idea of Mr. Sinister and all that, we're gonna get into more evil plans and internal conflicts rather than just the Senator and all that. For a daytime television show, you know, it doesn't have to have such a deep plot where you gotta watch every episode. This is just a show you can jump in at almost anywhere and you can kind of get the idea, and it's just a fun watch, and I think it kills it at doing that. I enjoyed myself a lot while watching this. You know, I'm walking on the treadmill, I'll set my phone up, 15-minute walk, you can watch an episode of X-Men. I love it. It's sick. There's really not much to say other than this is just a good, fun show as far as the first season goes. The animation is classic 90s. I mean, think of a 90s cartoon, art style is that. That is it. This has got to be up there with like the most classic 90s cartoon style. You got bright colors, it's all grainy and stuff. It's just cool. It's cool looking, it's aesthetic looking, it's a blast. I hope we get into like, I don't know how deep it goes, but it'd be cool to see like magic, you know, because Colossus had mentioned that. I want to see Iceman, I want to see Kitty Pryde. I'm sad that they didn't pop up, but I don't know, it's cool that we learned that Mystique is Rogue's mom. I mean, that's insane. The pacing feels great in every episode just because, I mean, it's 15 minutes. They use it to their advantage, like I said. It don't ever feel like it drags. Like, I feel like if some of these episodes were 40 minutes long, I'd be kind of like, all right, you know. I can't remember how long X-Men 97 episodes were. I feel like it was like 40 minutes, but it kind of had a deeper story. Like, there was all kinds of different stuff. It kind of hit the same beats, but it also had like, I don't know, they would have a lot more characters pop up, I feel like. But who knows, maybe in other seasons they do start exploring into more characters and all that. If you guys want me to talk about maybe the other seasons, I'm probably going to watch the show regardless. So if this video does well, maybe I'll talk about the other seasons, or maybe I'll just jump to a random season, because I have a feeling that it's not all gonna be a connected story. I'm sure like some parts will pop up, but thank you guys for watching. Shout out to the members. Hope you guys had a great week. This video might be a little bit late. If it is, I'm sorry. I will see you guys next week.